Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to start tonight's program by introducing Jim Karlavich Jr., who's Program Engineering Manager of the Chevrolet Camaro at General Motors.
Hi, good evening. My name is Jim Karlavich. I'm the Program Engineering Manager for the 2016 Camaro. I'd like to first welcome everybody here tonight. I'll start with telling you it's a huge honor of mine to be here to share with you what the team in this room, the General Motors team and the Camaro team members in this room have poured the last 4 years of our souls and our hearts into every day. We're going to start with some welcome and some team introductions. I'd like to thank David and Renee from the Detroit chapter SAE for having us here as well. I'm going to actually take a different approach. Rather than talk about the features and specs for roughly 45 minutes, I'm actually going to take the team back through a journey starting roughly 1 year after the 2009 Camaro went into production, when we conceptualized what the sixth generation would be. And I want to take you through what our vision was. I'll take you through some of our engineering challenges. I'll take you through our performance and our technology, and then I'm going to invite Todd Christensen, who's our marketing manager, to come up and talk about our marketing strategy. Before I get into our program team, I do want to take just a few minutes to welcome some key leadership from General Motors. Dan Nicholson, our Vice President of Powertrain. Tom Peters, who's our Director for the exterior of the Performance Car team. Taj Junctor, who's our Executive Chief for Performance Cars. Dave Leone, who was our former Executive Chief for Cadillac and Camaro, now the Quality Excellence Executive Chief. Ryan Vaughn, our Director for Interior Design. Andrew Reischeid, who's our Lansing Grand River, which is the production facility, our Quality Director. And Dave Mash, who's the Chief Engineer for the Cadillac ATS and CTS. This is our program team. This is the core team that was charged with integrating this vehicle, and everyone knows Al Oppenheiser. For anybody that's been on the internet for the last few days, probably knows where Al is. He's on the other side of the pond right now with Aaron Link and some other key folks. So he's sad he wasn't able to be here, but this is our team. This is our engineering and development team. These are what we call vehicle system engineers, as well as our development engineers out at Milford. This is our design team. These are the folks that conceptualize the interior and the exterior of this great vehicle. This is our manufacturing team. The team, as I had mentioned, is based in Lansing Grand River, which is where the vehicle is built, as well as our quality team based here in North America, and as well as our prototype team here in Warren. So what will SIX do? So approximately 4 or 5 years ago, when we conceptualized this vehicle, we had one mission. It was to improve upon the success of the 5th gen and no compromises, develop the DNA into an alpha vehicle. The success of the 5th gen, what that basically meant to us And this list is way longer than this, but I'll just touch on a few key items. We set the world's fastest lap time for a Camaro ever on Nürburgring with a Z28 with a 7-minute and 37-second lap time, and that was in inclement weather. We were named 2014's Driver Best Car by Motor Trend, which American car has never been named Driver's Best Car by Motor Trend. We were the first car in America, American-based company. In 2013 through 15, for 3 straight running years, we were voted the most dependable car in the J.D. Power segment. So to build upon that success with no compromises to the DNA. And what did that mean? Well, the Camaro DNA to us meant more dramatic design, more performance, more technology and personalization. And the personalization piece of this, if anyone's been to a Camaro show, one thing that you know is there's no Camaros that look alike in a Camaro show. And we took those learnings and integrated them into this vehicle. As Al said, we're going to take the Camaro a level higher than where the fifth generation is. So we start with identity. Again, this is going back to 2010, 2011. We have approximately 30 years of Camaro going back to 50 years of Camaro going back to 1967. I love this slide. We showed this in the studio, exterior studio, and what it does is it shows one of the common threads we had was what they call body side drama, side view profile. This is the DNA that makes a muscle car. So going back, we solicited the help of almost every design exterior in the world. We had Korea, Holden in Australia. We had Hollywood and Detroit submitting what we called theme rendering. So these were all the ideas that were put on the table to try to develop what the look of this car wanted to be. And one of the common threads here is basically what we call the single-piece grille, which has its heritage back to the 1967 Camaro. So after taking thousands of drawings, we boiled it down into what we called the single theme. And this single theme is what hung in the exterior studio for almost 3 years. And every day we came to work, we looked at this because this was our inspiration to develop this car. Again, the strong front, the big broad shoulders, and the single upper grille. We developed our first clay model. This is a full-scale clay model that was in the studio. This was the first time that any of us had seen what the 16 production Camaro would look like in 3 or 4 years. Broad shoulders, sculpted face. We added LED signature front lighting and a low, wide athletic stance. By the way, I'll say that the car in the lower left-hand corner was the production vehicle. I will say, in my 15-year career, and possibly in recent memory at General Motors, the design center and the engineering has never worked closer together and more harmonized in General Motors history than it has on this program and all the generations to come. And you can see that in the clay, we've basically emulated exactly what the studio wanted in our production vehicle. So exterior DNA, what does it mean to be a Camaro? Well, some of the key things that we honed in on when we looked at our themes and our sketches, again, long, powerful hood, dash to axle ratio, short overhang, short rear overhang, and powerful wheel shoulders. It was our job to try to figure out how to get this sculpture into the Alpha architecture. If I overlay the 5th gen to the 6th gen, basically a couple of things jump out at you. The wheelbase did get slightly shorter, but the overall vehicle got about 17 millimeters shorter, more than the wheelbase. And then side to side, the vehicle did get slightly shorter or slightly narrower, but it also got a lot lower. So the key takeaway here is the vehicle got lower and wider. We pushed the tires as far outboard and as far rearward and as far forward as the architecture would possibly allow. So ultimately, what did that mean? Our key exterior features: leaner, lower, wider. Al Oppenheiser commonly referred to this as Rocky III, lean, mean, fight machine. All exterior, all new LED exterior lighting. And then as a divergence from the 5th gen, we actually had a lot of separation between what we called the LT model, which was our 4-cylinder, and our 6-cylinder, to the Camaro SS, which is our track-capable car that's here on the stage. It comes with a 6.2-liter V8, 20-inch wheels, HID headlamps, stanchion spoilers, a unique front fascia, a unique HUD with air vents, and a 3-stanchion spoiler. The LT is our entry-level Camaro. It has a 2.0-liter turbo, a 3.6 V6, 18-inch wheels, halogen projector headlamps, and then you can option it to an RS package, which includes larger wheels and a rear lip spoiler. We also introduced for the first time, and what we consider to be segment leading, a retractable hard tonneau cover, which in the muscle car segment, in the Camaro segment that we compete in, was never before offered. And a couple of new items is it's operated with the key fob, and you can operate this up to 30 miles an hour, which is a big deviation from the 5th gen. So now, looking at the interior. So we had the exterior sculpted and architected, and we turned our sights onto the interior. What makes an interior of a muscle car? And from our standpoint, looking at, again, going back to 1967, it's all about the bold, the powerful, the design language of the 1st gen car. And I like this quote. It was actually from one of our guys in the studio. We want a contemporary muscle car design, instinctively Camaro, but without being retro. So we wanted to take the game up from where the 5th gen was, but we didn't want to get into the Genesis, Hyundai Genesis segment. We had to make sure that it was Camaro. So again, going back to our design themes, the interior team that designed this car was hand-selected to submit these themes, which were boiled down into the final themes, which again was developed into our single theme. The big thing about our single theme, again, with the exterior design language, the interior design language meant a very strong, powerful, wide IP. And we wanted to keep the top of that IP as low as possible, again, to accentuate the width of the car, knowing that we were in a slightly smaller package. So this is the design team sculpting the first what we call our design sign-off clay buck. And again, our clay model to our production, almost identical. A couple of key features on the interior that if you haven't been in one of our cars, I'll just point out. The functional air vent rings are actually dials that control the HVAC system, and this was actually a clever solution to a packaging constraint we had. In an attempt to keep the top of that IP in that center stack as low as possible, the team conceptualized putting the HVAC controls embedded into the control rings, which were typically stationary. The idea there was, again, to keep the IP as low as possible, and combined with the electric park brake switch, we diverged from the mechanical, allowed us to free up a lot of packaging space on the center console with the full range mode just shifting. A new key feature, one that I'm really excited about, and I know Hella's here, and they have a display if you haven't stopped by, is our all-new interior spectrum lighting. First ever for General Motors, clearly first ever for Camaro. What it is, it's an all-new 24-color customized LED lighting. It's operated off the interior drive mode switch, and when you do your fob unlock, it will shoot a beam across the IP, and when you do vehicle startup, light will start in the center and cascade to the doors. It comes in 24 colors, and it also includes a light show mode. So I actually took this video of my vehicle. So this is your center display. You can pick the color of your light pipes, you can link to drive mode, or you can go into car show mode, and this is just an example of the car show mode. Reconfigurable center IP, again, first ever for Camaro. Believe it or not, that's the same cluster in the Camaro SS. You get an available 8-inch diagonal screen. We have 3 themes, technology, media, and standard, and within those, you can have a friction bubble, a lap timer, and my favorite, which is the 0 to 60, 0 to 100 on a closed track, of course, and the quarter-mile timer. My boss is here, so. Again, going back to the console, driver-focused interior, the team spared no expense and no oversight, packaging the entire vehicle and the entire interior around the driver. The ergonomics are greatly improved. For example, you can rest your elbow on the door pad and on the console and they're the same level. One of the things our customers had told us in the 5th gen that they wanted to see improved. Premium material throughout, cut and sew leather, a flat bottom steering wheel, which is a first for Camaro. Our seating, which we worked on with JCI, who's also here, is one of our integrated suppliers up front, has done an excellent job with our seating team, and we hit, in my opinion, the perfect balance between lateral side support and ride comfort, and among one of the best in General Motors. We've also added driver side knee pads for the high lateral turns that this car is capable of. And then lastly, unprecedented technology. I'll talk about the driver selector switch in a little bit, But for the first time ever, we added inductive charging and heated steering and heated and vented seats.